Okay, time to get going. Diane Qigong, you found it. It's Thursday, August 6th, morning Qigong session. Starting over at the very start. So, cover off some movements after we do the warm-ups, then we'll do the form together. So, starting with warm-ups, hands on the back, the shu kidney points, and do waist rotations. And the waist here is above the belly button. Very much about the core in this move. Head is still, feet is still. Letting all the movement happen in between the hips through the lower ribs. And then palm over palm into the chest and massage. Good morning to the parents. Switching which hand is on top, massaging in the other direction. Then hands back on the back, shu kidney points, and waist rotations in the other direction. And if you're just starting out and it is too much on the shoulders to have the palms on the back, you can also use the back of your hands for this. It might allow your shoulders to be a little bit more relaxed and can work up to having the palms turned over. Exploring the roundness. How far forward, back, side to side. How long you spend in each of the directions. Then we'll go up and down and back and forth. Then we'll do the hip rotations. So feet shoulder wide and fingers or palms into Huan Tiao, the divot of the hip there, hip joint. And same idea with the feet being planted, connected to the ground as fully as they can be. And the top of the head, byway open to the sky and also still. Exploring the roundness, front, back, side, side, in between each one of those cardinal directions. And massaging Huan Tiao and massaging lower back. And then rotating in the other direction. The overhead lights went out. They're doing construction next door and now below me, and somehow only my overhead lights went out. And then palm over palm into lower dantian, massaging, letting all the internal organs be loose and soft, and then switch your hands on top and massage in the other direction. Then we'll do knee rotations, so feet back together and palms lightly on the knees, and making circles with the knees. Eyes are out on the floor, maybe 4 feet, 5 feet away. Wherever they land, with your back straight as you do these. And then massaging the kneecaps down on the inside, up on the outside, and switching directions. And then massaging down on the outside and up on the inside. And normally we would do a variation of these where we go lower and let the heels come up off the floor, but I wanted to just give some thought to what if we modified it in the other direction and made it even easier, and just maintaining the core, doing a little squat. And this is pretty much it's working a lot of the same stuff that those knee rotations does. It doesn't have the dynamic energy of the knees going in circles, but even if we stay pretty much upright, let our hands rest on the thighs instead of the knees, can stay upright and still get some core work out of that. And then brushing down the legs. And then whatever modification you're doing can go in the other direction. And then massage up the insides of the legs. And feet back together, and we'll do some arm rotations. So making it a complete circle where there's the circle outside of us, obviously, but also a circle that comes inside of us through upper dantian, middle dantian, lower dantian. Extending up through the front of the body. Eyes up on the hands. And this can be either active, where you're really engaging and pushing up and down as hard as you can, relax, or it can be focused more on the opening and extension, where everything is more relaxed and you're not so much pushing, it's just looking up and down the body and seeing where there's space and openness, where things might be able to expand a little more. Center and relaxed. Up again. Center, and then we'll go to the right, opening up the left side of the body to allow us to lean to the right. Remembering to breathe while we're doing these extensions. Center, up again. Center, one more to the right. Center, and then up to the left, extending through the right side of the body. Center, left. center, left again. And coming back to center and folding from the hua, keeping the back straight and doing arm rotations towards the ground. And then pushing down from upper dantian towards the ground in front of you, and then pivoting the torso to the left and doing it outside the left foot, pivoting to the right, doing it outside the right foot. And then grasping the elbows and just hang out. Do little circles with the elbows. And massage down the legs. And pat down the legs. And with the patting, we have the hand cupped and soft. It's not a hard slap, it's cupped, soft pat. And there's a whole patting gong that you can do. It's advanced. That's after the second set. No, you can do it after the first set. Let's get some kicks in before we do chin to toe. Protecting the back, stability, and kicking out through the bottom of the legs, through the heels. With each one of the kicks, letting the foot come down lightly on the ground. And then kicking down the top of the foot, down the top of the leg through the toes. Then we'll do chin to toe. So right leg out and the weight is in the left leg. Pivot the torso to be in line with that extended leg, grasping the elbows and folding from the hua. Making circles with the elbows. And the chin is aligned with the toe. It doesn't matter how far down necessarily you go. It's more about that alignment between those two things so that your spine is extended as you do this. Eyes are on the floor. Then reaching out with the hands, fingers into the floor, and exploring extension through the back of the leg. And then massaging the leg. You can bend your leg if you need to get all the joints. And then patting down the leg. And minding the back on the way up and walk it off. And then back to the left side. Left leg extended, right leg supporting with weight. Pivoting the torso to align with the left leg. Grasping elbows, folding from the hua. And circles down the front of the leg, up the toe back towards yourself. Tongue is touching lightly on the palate through all of the warm-ups and all of the form. Just resting lightly behind the teeth. Eyes are on the ground. Into the ground, and then hands reach out. 10 fingers, 5 on each hand. Just like the eyes towards the ground, but into the ground. And then massaging. A little bit harder on the outside as you go down, and a little bit harder on the inside as you come up. That is opposite the natural flow of the meridians on the outside and inside. Padding and minding the back on the way up, walking it off. And then back to the right side. Right leg out, 3 fingers on each hand, and folding from the hua. Eyes on the floor, chin aligned with toe. Extension through the back of the leg. And 2 fingers, 1 on each hand. Grasping the toe. And massaging. Again, harder on the outside down, harder on the inside up. And petting down the leg. Winding the back on the way out and walking it off. Over to the left side. Left leg extended. 6 fingers, 3 on each hand. Folding from the hua. And then 2 fingers on each hand, pointing down to the ground, chin aligned with toe. And then grasping the toe. And massaging. And then patting. Finding the back coming up, walking it off. And then we'll do another round of kicks now that our legs are a little bit more loosened up, so protecting the back and kicking through the heel. You might notice with the legs being a little looser, it's possible to kick a little bit higher, but don't focus on height of the kicks over stability of your core and torso while you're doing the kicks. And down through the top of the leg, through the toes. And then we'll do some upper body stuff. Or through leg extension. So right hand over the left shoulder, left hand in front of the face, look to the right, palms focused in on the ears, and even in this move, letting the Baihui be open and extending into the sky, having your whole body aligned from the feet up. Relaxing. Then we'll do the other side. Left hand over right shoulder. Right hand in front of the face, looking to the left. Relaxing. And once more, right hand over left shoulder. Left hand in front of the face, looking right. Palms aligned with ears. Tongue touching lightly, breath comes naturally. And and obviously an extension through the shoulders, but also can feel a bit of spiral down the spine, opening up the back down to the hips. Relax, and left hand over right shoulder, right hand in front of the face, look left. Relax, and then patting on the corner of the shoulder and under the arm. Loosening up the arms for the next warm-up arm rotations. So for the arm rotations, first bending the left knee. Both feet are flat on the floor. Left hand is on the left thigh. Torso is aligned with the bent leg, and the right arm is hanging loose before it comes up and down the back. Up the front, down the back. And letting momentum carry it up the front, and gravity does the work on the way down on the back. And then switching directions. Then we'll pivot on left heel, pivot on right heel to turn around, and then the right leg is bent. Torso is aligned with that right leg. Left arm hangs loose before coming up the front, down the back. Switching directions. And then patting on top of the shoulder and across the back. Letting the arms hang loose and letting the motion from this come from just moving the shoulders the tiniest bit. And then pivoting on the right heel, pivoting on the left heel, and continuing those pats. Stepping up and massaging circles on the Shukyni points on the back, and then Dabao on the ribs side of the body. This can also be done with the tops of the hands, just like the back stuff. You're working up to it. And then lymph nodes with the lower extremities. And chest. This time it's not centered on the body, but rather starting from the center, combing out over the collarbone with the fingers spread. Switching which hand is on top, other direction. Other side. Then we'll do shoulder massage. So grabbing the elbow with one hand to get a little bit more extension out of the arm that's doing the rubbing, and then can get some pats in. And switching sides. First rubbing on the scapula, all over the shoulder, and then some pats. Then we'll do massages up the arm, so tips of the fingers, past the wrist, elbow, shoulder, and with each one of these being sure to get the very tips of the fingers where the meridians are most accessible. And if you need to have your arm a little bit across the body to be able to get to the tips of the fingers, that's a-okay. And turning the arm over and massaging down on the inside And then on the outside, coming up. Top of the arm, tips of the fingers through the top of the arm. And turning it over, shoulder down, through the elbow, through the wrist, out the ends of the fingers, being sure to get all the fingers. And shaking the hands out, and can shake the arms out and shake the shoulders out. And then we'll do the hand coordination exercise or massage where we're getting the tips of the fingers to touch each other one at a time, and then brushing past the webbings of the fingers with the same focus and intent, giving through the hand and past the wrist. And then switching the sides, so we're getting the top of the left hand with the right hand, fingertips, webbing, top of the hand, wrist, with each one of these. Then why don't we massage Hugu, which is if you close your hand, then there's a little lump in between the thumb and the pointer finger, and massaging in there, usually painful for people. And the saying is, where there's blockage, there's pain. So don't overdo it, but by practicing Qigong regularly, the blockages will go away. Other side, the Hugu. This Hugu gets oriented towards different parts of the body throughout the form. Not as much as Lao Gong does, but still quite a bit. And then getting to Lao Gong, middle finger into the palm, the crease there, in between pointer and middle finger, as you're exploring points on your body that are always in the hollow. So looking into the hollow between those fingers. Warming up the palm and then spreading that warmth all through the palm and then out to the ends of the fingers. And we do the pinky twice. There's 2 meridians there. Then other side, again finding Lao Gong. And massaging the palm. And massaging out to the ends of the fingers. Thumb always coming back to the center of the palm or the Lao Gong back to spread its warmth out to the ends of the fingers, twice on the pinky. Alright, hands warmed up, then we'll massage the back of the neck. Other side. And then massaging the front of the neck, using Hugu and the pointer finger, brushing from the collarbone past the chin. Moving from one side to the other and then back again. Switching which hand is cradling and which hand is doing the massaging. And then coming to the head, massaging the temple point in between the corner of the ear and corner of the eye. You can do this with as much or as little pressure as you like. It doesn't require a lot of pressure to be stimulating these points. And then massaging the corners of the eyes. A little divot in the orbit of the eye. Right eyes point. And corners of the nose. Then the mouth, forming a V with the fingers and getting both corners of the mouth. Switching hands and getting the other side. Then we'll do the ears. So first just getting all the ears, warming them up. Getting into the whorls, not poking into the canals of the ears, but getting the bits of the ears that are on the outside. And then the drums of heaven, putting the palms over the ears and drumming with just the fingers. You don't want to be slapping air into your ears, which can hurt them. Just the palms are resting over the ears, and all the drumming is happening with the fingers. Might sound like underwater or something like that. Then forming a V with the fingers again, brushing up the cheek and front and back of the ear. And then we'll do wash, face, comb, hair. So coming up the front of the body, over the face, over the top of the head, around the back, and dredging out any stale, stagnant, tired, sick, excess, whatever you don't want chi. Just first getting it out of the way. Then after a few of those, can start completing the sphere circle that you're making with the hands. And the hands aren't touching the body or face or coming in contact with each other, but are close. I would say less than an inch away from the body and each other for the wash, face, comb, hair. And then one leg stand. So all of the weight into the left leg, letting the left leg fully support you and feeling that support coming up through the hip and your lower dantian resting on that, and then feeling the middle dantian resting on that and upper dantian resting on that, so that you've got this stack all the way down into the floor that's fully supported and stable. And that alone, even without lifting the other foot, is a one leg stand. And with the light foot or free foot, you can even just brush the floor. Don't have to lift the leg to experience the stability of that one leg stand. And the knee can be bent a little bit if that increases your sense of stability. And then as we switch, which leg is bearing the weight, let it be gradual, coming through the bottom of the torso. And notice where it's at, like 50%, 75%, 90%, 100%, and all the weight is in the right leg. And that support coming up through the spread toes of the foot, the ball of the foot and heel of the foot, up through the ankle, through the knee, hip, chest, head. And left leg being light can do as it pleases, can just brush the floor. Whatever you're doing with the left light leg, the focus is on maintaining that stability with the right leg, the weight-bearing leg, and then can shift back to the left gradually, and once we're 100% on the left, can let the right leg do as it pleases. Can do heel toe to the floor, alternating the heel and the toe on the floor, and that can be with the leg extended, it can be with the leg behind you or to the side. Lots of ways to play with that, and just loosening up the ankle, doing ankle rotations. If you want to, you can lift the leg. And as the foot comes down, if you have it up off the ground, let finding the floor be a soft, gradual thing where you have a moment where you can brush the floor. It's touching, but there's no weight on it. And then from there, let the weight transfer happen. Slowly, gradually, till the right side is supporting all of our weight, and the left gets to play. Can do the ankle, heel toe, and one leg stand is a favorite of mine because it's so relevant. It is something that gets engaged throughout the form. There's weight shifts all the way throughout the form, and it's also something, one of the parts of the Dian Qigong form that you can carry with you into everyday life really easily. And that's demonstrated with the walking meditation. Anything can be a walking meditation. You can meditate all day long if you want. And put back down, weight 50-50, and then we'll do stretching through the insides of the leg. So letting the left leg bend, and both feet are on the floor, both the toes and the heels, and the left leg bends and the right leg extends, extending the right arm, and the eyes are following the right arm down, the leg into the floor. Left hand can be supporting on the left hip or left thigh. Can do an elbow to the thigh, can form a claw. And then switching sides, letting the left leg extend, open up, letting the right leg bend, supporting yourself and letting the left hand follow the left leg extending down into the ground, eyes following the arm down into the ground. And coming back to center and walking the feet towards each other a bit and massaging up the insides of the legs. And then we'll do some walking kicks, so protecting the back and keeping the stack in mind as we kick out with the heels first. Bring the feet back to the floor gently and quietly with each kick. And being able to maintain stability and balance is really the greatest benefit of the kicks. We're not looking for martial application with Qigong, but the idea that there can be some dynamic movement and we still maintain our stability. And through the top of the leg, through the toes. And by training our body to have some visceral default muscle memory response to vigorous force. It can prepare us for inevitable surprises that come in life so that have less accidents. And then after the toe kicks, connecting across the back of the foot with the top of the other foot. So top of the foot across Achilles tendon. And then just walking meditation. Again, maintaining balance, letting the steps be light, quiet, and bringing the hands into lower dantian. Hands are yang, active as they come out, and yin, soft, gentle, gathering, consolidating as they come in. Seeking and consolidating one after another. Okay. Warmed up. Just do a single bow to transition into the movement details. So, having gone through all the 64 movements once since going online and being locked down, we're now in round 2 of the form. So, going back to beginnings, and actually, the first thing I always teach at the start is the end. So the close, movement 64, is super valuable in that you can do it after any of the movements that you're practicing. If you just learned a new move and you're doing it over and over again a couple times and want to bring yourself back to yourself, the close is good for that. And it's also useful if you're doing the form along with the group and reach a point where you don't feel like following along anymore, then you can do the close and step out of the group. So, to begin with, movement 0, even before we start the form, movement 0 is just finding your place. And finding your place has the feet parallel, shoulder wide, just like they were for the hip rotations. Check that they're actually parallel. It's very easy for the feet to not be parallel, but for them to feel parallel. And it's going to feel awkward to have them parallel if you haven't been paying attention to making them parallel. And then, just like the hip rotations and waist rotations, exploring where your balance is at, forward and backward, side to side, and knowing that balance isn't a single point and a static thing, but in an orbit where you feel supported and safe. And relaxing the shoulders, toes are spread, the ball of the foot and heel are both as spread out on the floor as possible, sinking down to the ground, supporting up through the ankles, knees, hips, through lower dantian, middle, upper, baihui at the top of the head open to the sky. Hands are relaxed at the sides, fingers are spread, thumbs are forward, called a tiger's mouth, that thumb being forward. And then to close from that 0 point, the finding your place point, all we do is bring the arms in a natural arc to upper dantian from wherever they are, and then from upper dantian, without touching the body, just coming down past the face, arms are even with each other, so the fingers are pointing towards each other as we come down through middle dantian, through lower dantian, until the fingers are pointing all the way towards the ground, and then they come to the side, and that's the close. And then after you close, it's good to check in again with that finding your place point, the 0 point, where balance is a thing, being relaxed through the body but supported through the body, and then after checking in with the three major dantians and the ground and the sky, then bring the feet together. And when you're practicing in a group, you want to bring your feet together towards the middle of the group. And that isn't necessarily a Qigong thing, but that's just more of a martial arts tradition type of thing where the whole group brings their legs together in the same direction towards the center. Looks really cool. And I know that everybody is doing Qigong to look cool. So style points, very important. Not so important, no. Okay, so that's movement 0, which is a secret, unlisted movement, and 64, the close. Now, in between that, we've got a whole 63 movements to learn. Today we'll cover 1 through 3, which is starting the form, spreading the wings, and closing the wings. And for these, we, again, shoulders relaxed. Well, before we go into that, I want to talk about the Qigong palm, which throughout the form, we maintain this Qigong palm where the hand is relaxed and it's straight with the wrist. And the wrist is not like tight to make it straight, but just relaxed, and you can shake it out and see as the wrist is held loose, where does it line up with the rest of the arm? And that's to allow Qi to come through the wrist. If it's scrunched in either direction, kinked, it's going to block that flow of Qi. And then through the wrist, the fingers are straight, but not pulling the fingers back, but letting them be relaxed, but kind of have that same shake it out straightness with the rest of the hand through the wrist and arm, through the fingers, through the fingertips. And then that allows the Laogong, that center point in the palm, to be active and well supported and lined up with a bunch of things throughout the form. And the fingers are evenly spread, so that's actually, for me, one of the harder things, to maintain equal distance between the fingers. Even thinking about it makes my fingers feel twitchy, and trying to make them perfectly spread. It's one of those things that probably never get exactly right, but it's always fun to play with. And then the thumb forward, tiger's mouth open, so that Fugu is open. That point we were massaging in between these two fingers, the fleshy part there. So that's the Qigong palm, and just like the tongue touching lightly on the palate, as often as possible in the form, as often as you remember to, maintain that Qigong palm with the looseness in the wrists, the looseness in the fingers, and everything lined up straight so that there's room for the Qi to flow through all of that. And another mechanical, interesting thing about maintaining that straightness is that it forces you to engage the rest of your body as you're aligning with different parts of yourself with the palms. If you have your fingers, hands, and wrists straight, as you do those alignments, you can't just kink your wrist to get the alignments done. It forces you to engage your whole body. And less is more always. If you're working on any body projects or you feel tightness or anything like that, then don't overdo it. But the idea is to engage your whole body with the form. It's a full body engagement throughout the entire form. There's points on your body that you can be checking in with and see how they relate to the current movement. So, kind of an advanced detail, but also a beginner's mind kind of thing, is something that you can keep on learning it throughout the form, and it will keep on giving you new insights as you remember to do it through different points in the form. So, back to today's movements. To start the form, we bend from the Hua, and the hands come, I'll do this from the side, the hands come to Fugu, Laogong in the palm to or to Huantiao, sorry, the H points, Huantiao, and then as we fold over, the hands come down the legs, and then the fingers drag through the ground, and we come back upright. And that's starting form, just that series right there. So we're coming down the legs, and you can do this without bending too far over as well. You can just lean slightly forward and allow the palms to come back, or have the idea that the Laogong is connecting to Huantiao, and then as you lean forward a little bit, letting the hands come down the legs, and they don't have to actually go down the whole legs, and even if you are going all the way down, you're not touching the legs with the hands, so just letting the thought, focus, intent of the hands come down through the legs into the floor, and then dragging the fingers through the floor, through the earth, through the ground, until the arms are at shoulder high. And then, similar to the very start, you're supported, feet are totally in the ground, Baihui straight up to the sky, and then we go into spread wings, letting the hands open at a slight angle from where they were at. They were pointing at each other, now they're open at a slight angle. And then we come up off the heels a tiny bit and open up to the sky, and look for a roundness through the arms, through the chest, embracing the sky, letting your body be round, just like the sky is the sky. Well, if you're outside of the sky, it's round. And then that's spreading the wings. Eyes are up into the sky without the head lolling back. The neck is supporting the head. And the heels are open off the ground if you feel supported to do that. And then we do closed wings, movement number 3. So coming down on the heels, the hands come into lower dantian in a natural arc. However they find their way to lower dantian is fine. And that's closing wings, is just coming into lower dantian, connecting Laogong to lower dantian, and acknowledging that connection before moving on to the next movement. And you can just do close after that. And I'll do spreading the wings and closing the wings once more from the side, just so that you get that view where the arms are out, the shoulders are relaxed, so we're not reaching up or letting the arms be down, but they're parallel to the ground. They don't have to be held straight out. They can be relaxed and still aligned through the wrist, fingers all soft and pointing out. But then we open the palms at an angle to the sky and coming up off the heel, heels looking up to the sky, and the head can come back a little bit if you want, but really just looking up with the eyes is enough to feel the expanse of the sky and welcome that all in. And then move number 3, closing the wings, looking back at the horizon, and the hands arcing down into lower dantian, almost as if they're being magnetically pulled in and finding their place there. And then close. So that's the first 3 movements. I think that's enough detail for today. I think I probably went a little bit over on details, but at the start of the form, there's so much exciting stuff to learn. So wanted to get to all that. If you have any questions or thoughts or insights, reach out, email, the chat here, the chat on Telegram. Or if you like, let me know what you're thinking and how your practice is doing, how your practice is plugging in from people. Don't be shy. Yeah, so we're going to do single bow to wrap up that form detail section, and then we'll find our place in space. And from doing the warm-ups and doing these movement practices, let the body loosen up and get ready to do the form. As you find your place, and move 0. Just getting to balance. Tongue is touching lightly behind the teeth. Baihui open to the sky. Hands relaxed at the sides. Tiger's mouth. Thumb forward. Warmth of the legs and the warmth of the palm finding each other. Spine long, Baihui up to the sky, and begin. Starting form, down the legs, through the ground, opening up to the sky, coming back in, and reaching out, turning the hands over. Claws come to the back and expel. That movement gets repeated. And hands over the face, elbows spread, fingers interlaced. Looking up and folding from the wall. Coming up to knee high and pushing down outside the left foot, up to knee high, down outside the right foot, back to center. Then we rock forward, rock back, left hand above the left clavicle in macrocosmic orbit. Then we flat 3 times. Put the left foot down, right hand claw above the clavicle, and left hand macrocosmic orbit. Flap, flap, flap. Left hand to middle dantian. Right hand drops in washing machine. Right hands like clouds. Then we rinse the waist, spiraling, and raise single wing. Looking forward, we wrap ear and head, and palms are aligned below the collarbone. Drag moon from water, the outer moon. And then we turn around halfway through the form. And then we'll look at the moon, which is a quick inner moon. Charge up the boosters. On the right, at the bottom of the third one on the right, start fluttering, and we fly over the water, looking far, and then fluttering up in front, to the left, right, left, back to the center, and we'll drink water. And on the third drinking water, as we come past the extended leg, we rise up, front leg comes forward so the legs are even, and we flutter, 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 big arc down to lower dantian, land the hands and massage, letting the internal organs be soft and absorbing. Pause, rest, and massage. And then rest for as long as you are massaging for. Massage. rest. And then lift the hands to grasp chi and dragging up the stomach meridian, fingers leading the way out, the total of 10 of these. Reaching out is slower, circling back in is quicker. Nine and 10. And then dropping the right hand and grasping chi with the palm up. Again, coming in below the collarbone, dragging down the stomach meridian. The legs and hips, torso, head are all relaxed, just like 0. 9. 10. Uncurling the fingers, spiraling the hands up past the face into the sky, and big ball of chi down to the sides of the feet, bringing it over to the left, right hand top of left hand, and massage in towards lower dantian, eyes on the massaging hands. Turning it over, massaging from the right back to the left, and then massaging twice to the front, and then letting the hands rest at lower dantian, absorbing before coming up the front of the body for another big ball of chi, coming down to the toes, and then into standing meditation. Arms are slightly bent with the palms facing upper dantian, knees bent, back straight, perpendicular to the ground. You're practicing alone, you can hold this as long as you like, but we can say okay for now. And hands to upper dantian, down, pausing at lower dantian. Okay, moving on. Hugu to Huan Tiao. Arms up to shoulder high, up off the heels, and expel. Fingers up, fingers forward, fingers form claw, and then you can make space for the 7 steps as hands come back and massage and pause. Pausing for as long as you massage for. Massaging again. Pause. Massage. Pause. And then we'll do the 7 steps. First is gliding up. This movement is effortless gliding. There's no flapping involved, just gliding along. Number 6. And number 7. Fluttering it. Lower dantian, turning around, fluttering up. And then we fly up. The fluttering continues. Number 6. Number 7. Then fluttering to lower dantian, turning around, fluttering up, forward, stopping fluttering, taking a step to search for food. 7. Hands come to the knees, lower dantian, pivot left heel, pivot right heel, and we'll build a nest. As we look to the right, we do 2 steps on that side. Forward, left, forward, the 7th step, pushing all the way down, through way in, fingers pointing down on the ground, and rotate on the left heel, bring the right heel parallel with the foot, and flutter up. And past upper dantian, coming up off the heels, past middle dantian, fingers coming together, stopping fluttering, landing on lower dantian, and sleep. We built a nest so we get to sleep in it. Alright, down on the heels and slowly up. Hands come down, pointing at the ground, to the sides, and close. And back to 0. Checking in from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head before closing the legs and doing some walking meditation. And maintaining the stack up from the hips and lower dantian through the top of the head, and each step being light, finding the ground and then transitioning the weight fully, and the arms as they reach out are active, young, exploring, fingers leading the way, and together into lower dantian, in, absorbing, consolidating. So, we went into overtime. Thank you so much for sticking around and practicing, and we can do 3 bows, 1 to each other, for making the space and time to practice with each other, and then a bow to acknowledge our teachers and our teachers' teachers and all the lineage holders through the generations, and then 3rd bow to earth and the sky, everything in between, all this space we have to flap around like geese. And that's it. That's the form. Thanks for sticking around, and yeah, reach out with any questions and find ways to integrate Qigong into everyday life. It's a moving meditation, and the magic of moving meditation is that it's always with you. Don't have to even sit down to do it. Can do it sitting as well, though. So, yeah, that's all I got. I'll see you either next week or on Saturday, or maybe you'll say hi in between then. Okay, bye.